Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special, very tilted edition of Let's Talk About the League. And I'm joined today to be able to talk about the league and very shockingly, maybe some other video games as well, by Evil Envy and forgot Alonzi Tardis. Alonzi, Evil Envy, how we doing?
I'm doing
Doing
Forgot
well.
pretty
your
good.
gamer tags.
How you doing, Justin?
I'm very well. Sig, please.
Sick.
Only real people call me by my birth name. Now, peasants, please, let's talk tonight. We got a whole lot of fun discussion to talk about. You folks already got a little bit of a tease when we talked when I posted the questionnaire about lost tilt toxicity. Thank you to everyone that filled that out. It really made this podcast much easier. And speaking of this podcast, tonight is sponsored by you. And by you, I mean me. Sig's Twisted Tree Line is bringing us this very tilted podcast tonight. And we're going to talk more about that at the end of the podcast. But this past week, we had the finals. Congratulations to Option 12. Very well played. But shortly thereafter, I receive a message from Alonzi Tardis, and Alonzi, just for our friends at home who might not know, what did you play this past split? I mean, what team?
Team Phoenix.
And what role did you play?
I played support.
So imagine my my chagrin, my curiosity being piqued when the support for the team that lost the finals match. I mean, you guys played your heart out, but you lost. Messaged me and says, "Hey Sig, you want to do a podcast about loss?" And I'm like, "This is the only chance I'm ever going to get to be like Radiolab. This is my NPR moment." So we're going to chase that dream tonight. We're going to hop down the rabbit hole. And we're going to talk about tilt, loss, and I hope that you will join us in chat. Chime in, please. Try to keep it civil. We don't want anyone tilted in chat. So, gentlemen, let's go ahead and hop right in. What are our initial thoughts when it comes to tilt in League of Legends?
uh, Initial thought?
Yeah.
Fun time with friends, roasting your own set friends. Typically, you're just trying to have fun, but you end up being too invested in it anyways.
I have to agree. The investment level is really what causes the tilt, at least in League, because it's such a commitment. But what about you, Evil? With regards to League, let's start there.
What, how I think of Tilton League?
Lost, tilt, just a very short intro because we've got some questions. We're gonna go in order, but just briefly, League and tilt. What do you think?
Well, yeah, like you guys said, the investment makes the losses a lot harder, and then the tilt just piles on. So you go into the next match with the feelings of how you lost the last match. So you might put more focus on, well, last match I lost because I didn't rotate. So you might put too much focus on rotating. Now your laning phase is not as well. Now you lose because of that. That piles on more tilt, and you just consistently lose games.
So it's a very difficult subject to broach. Is
Yeah.
what we're trying to paint here, folks. But for a minute, let's take it outside the scope of League of Legends. Let's talk about some of the other games that tilt happens in, because tilt in the terms I think that we mean it. Correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen. We're not talking about single player tilt like I can't clear level 3 on Mario. It's not I can't do something in a single player game. It's tilt and loss in a massive multiplayer or online game. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about Overwatch because Overwatch usually is my detox. That's where I put on the cucumber mask, put my feet up, pick Lucio, and let the day pass by. But I cannot help but get so angry and so tilted with some of the environmental mechanics of Overwatch, where you end up with someone like Torbjorn prior to rework, where it was just put down a turret, wait till they come, and then ultimate. There's not much counterplay there. and I did not enjoy that. Now they've changed it, so this might not be the best example, but it's just those environmental factors like that. Bastion, whenever Bastion gets play of the game, after sitting there and doing nothing but like I play on PlayStation 4, but like hold the trigger button, and that's play of the game. I have to sit, and there's no skip button. I have to sit and watch. That's just I'm tilted already. Evil, what about you?
Uh, well, usually when I tilt, I go to single player games, so I don't have a like I don't have another game I go to where it might make me tilt even more. So I usually go to I play like Command and Conquer against the AI, or I play some PlayStation 4 games. I don't really
Okay.
go to another multiplayer game.
Okay, mass anti-socialite. I get it. I get it. Uh, and you, Alonzi.
Um, well, there's StarCraft 2, which is, I think the most tilting thing in StarCraft for me is when you're. I like big team battles. I like late games fights. But I always lose them anyway. But they're a lot more fun. But I hate it when you put down your first bunker, put down your barracks. I usually play Terran. I hate playing Zerg because it's way too much micromanagement. But and I'm like, all right, I'm doing pretty well. I'll send out like an SCV to go scout whomever, um, and and then next thing I know, they're just rushing me with like just straight one Reaper or two Reapers who can hop over any sort of terrain height, and they just start blowing up my SCVs. And next thing I know, I just lost the game because they rushed me early, and that is just beyond tilting for me. Because I'm like, that's the meta in StarCraft. If you do ranked, at least, is it's just build as many things as fast as you can, and there's nothing you can do about it if they're very good at it. So. I've actually even had um, Kenos, who the caster for the LCUS, has given me some pro tips for it, and it's rough. So that's tilting for me in StarCraft.
I've always been incredibly intrigued by StarCraft. I've never played it because there is such a learning curve. I mean, it's like going from League to a game like StarCraft is like going from preschool to a master's class. Um, because there's a lot more, isn't there? Like
Hmm.
in terms of gameplay.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, you're looking at like five different things at once. You're in charge of like six different things at once, whether it's getting resources or you're, attacking one base and you're sending scouts to another base and you're upgrading things. It's like five different things all at once. Whereas League, it's kind of just like look at the mini map every 5 seconds, click around, use your keyboard.
Okay, okay. Well, that's cool. I mean, that just sounds tilting in and of itself. Now, we do, folks, just to let you peek behind the curtain. We have a document that we use to prepare for this podcast. And Alonzi, you typed something about tilt in like these games, like StarCraft, Fortnite, Call of Duty, Overwatch. How it's different than tilt in League. Go over that for me, because I thought this was a very interesting point.
Well, like, so you look at, let's say, quick games, at least in my opinion. I haven't played much Overwatch, but like Fortnite and COD, like you get in the game really very quickly, right? You load in, you may find a friend's party, you load in, you play, you might lose, and then you can jump into another game. And it's just like a very fast paced, very like, and it also feels like a lot of things are out of your hand as well. At least in Fortnite and COD, it seems to me, because you've got so many people at once. You could have 12 people shooting you at once or whatever. But then League, you've got to search for the game. You've got to get in pick and bans, and then you've got your loading screen. And if you have Evil Envy on your team, he takes forever to load in. So there's like 50 minutes. and then then there's like getting to lane, and then nothing really happens until like 5 minutes into the game. At that point, 15 minutes of your life is just gone that you don't get back. So it's like this investment that you have into League that sets it so far apart from any other video game that you play, at least in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. And I also like the point you made in the document about how these games, it's like League, there's like this constant level of tilt, self hatred going on. But like in other games, there's like like Overwatch. I don't play Fortnite that much, but I imagine it's the exact same thing. You had said like for Fortnite, if usually you don't care first multiple months you don't care, but then after a while if you don't start getting top 20, you start getting upset. Uh, I can relate to that. I mean, you feel the pressure the longer that you play one of these multiplayer games. Like I've been playing, I am a garbage league player. Anybody that watched this last split can see that. Yeah, I had some highlight moments. Yeah, put me in the top 5 on Fridays. But man, just the more that you play games like League, like I've been playing since 2013, I feel like I should be so much better than I am. And then when you get into these situations like the LCUS, probably the most fun I've had in a video game experience with other people in my time playing video games. But it's just so tilting when you don't succeed on that level. And I think we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But in terms of loss in League of Legends, um, what's the worst way to lose a game? I feel it's when the sixth guy, when you turn into the sixth guy, when you're the one that's uh when you're the one that is running it down mid, when you're the one that flashed in 1v3, uh when you turn into the sixth guy, or when someone on the other one of your teammates turn into the sixth guy, um it is unfun from that point forward. And considering that you could be the one that prevents the surrender vote, oh, so tilting.
Yeah, I'd agree with
Yeah.
that. Thinking about mine already has me upset, so I'm gonna have Evil Envy go before I do.
For me, I guess it's those games where you just know you're gonna lose. Like you load in and let's say the jungler gets invaded, he loses the blue and he leaves the game. And then he picked a carry jungler, so the mid laner probably went Galio, somebody who wasn't going to carry. So now so now it's a 4v5. We're down, and the other team's doing they're playing a 4v5 properly. They have somebody splitting just free farm, and it's like a Jax or somebody who's going to carry.
Yeah, and
And
then
somebody on the team doesn't want to surrender because they believe in never surrender. So it's like we know we're going to lose, but now we have to play it out.
oh,
Yeah,
so
those are
rough.
probably the most tilting for me.
Yeah. Uh, Mine's kind of along those lines. Mine is when actually it happened right before we started tonight's episode of Let's Talk About the League. It's when you're playing a game and it's kind of like level even. Like you're down 3 kills, then you're up 3 kills, and you're down 3 kills again, and then all hope seems lost. And they're like up 10 kills, and they already have like 3 turrets, so you're none, and they're just shoving mid. And then you get in a team fight, and you somehow end up winning the team fight. And let's say one of them gets away, but like 4 of you are left, and then you just think there's that one whisper of hope in your head that's like, so you're saying there's a chance, and then you're like, and then people stop trying to forfeit, and you keep playing, and then the game's now 30 minutes in, and people have items, and you go to Baron, and then even though looking back, you feel like there's nothing you could have done differently, or say a teammate from another teammate basically made a mistake, and you felt like in your heart of hearts that you did everything right, and then you lose, and then you die, and because death timers at like 45 minutes and feels like eternity, you just have to watch them take down the inhibitor turret, take down the inhibitor, and there's nothing you can do at all. And yeah, you just lose after an hour of time and false hope, and that for me is the most tilting thing in the world.
I I couldn't disagree more. I'm glad we're gonna have some contention. Uh, I I love those games when it makes it to that point. When I ride that emotional roller coaster from 5 minutes in all the way until that 60-minute mark, those are the most rewarding games of League, and the reason that I keep playing the game because it's not decided. That untilts me. I can leave those games with my head held high. It's a 15-minute, quick ended, completely undecided, like completely one sided match is what ruins me. A completely undecided match. So I guess this brings up this does lead to a question: do you surrender?
No.
I do. It depends on the comp. It's a super complicated question. I don't think in a 3v5 you should keep playing. You're not going to learn a useful skill.
That's I'd say
Yeah,
that's fair.
yeah.
But I think if you have everyone on your team, I don't think you should. Um, at least from my perspective, the reason why is like you ever play those games where you come back from absolutely nothing and winning? You know, like Phoenix did against Nine Lives when we were down 10k gold. Not pointing fingers. But it's fun because you see teammates just the other team will say in like all chat like just forfeit already, and then they start throwing and they're like, why are we losing this game? And then they're the ones who are guilty tilted, and you're like, yeah, now you're in my shoes. How does it feel? So I don't like forfeiting. I like playing it out. But if I'm with a group of friends and they're like, I gotta win, right away, or I only have so much time, then I think you should forfeit.
Yeah, I'm one of those players that I'm usually down to forfeit after, you know, like if bot gets a 6 kill lead, I'm usually down to forfeit. But I'm also like we have a team fight and it goes our way. As the forfeit vote is up, I'll say no.
So it's a very heat of the moment thing for you.
Yeah.
So folks, you heard it here. Next split, get him down, and then immediately type in chat, "Do you surrender?"
Do you Norm? You gave away your secret, your Achilles heel.
So make sure if he ever streams, one, stream snipe him, and two, just go ham on him, folks. He's really vulnerable. Point and laugh, everybody. Point and laugh. But that's also a big thing with tilt, is when we have a question. Was what were your techniques to untilt yourself? I mute all, because nothing tilts me more than my own team salt. If I make a misplay and one of my teammates go all in, being like, "Okay, FF at 20, do you understand how keyboards work?"
No.
Things like that, I'm just like, I made one misplay. One. Do you think you're funny? Do you think you wrote this joke? Is this the first time I've ever heard someone call me bad? I mean, if this is the enjoyment you get out of this game, please move on. We don't need you and we don't want you.
Yeah. Everybody who thinks they're hot shit in League always thinks they're the next up and coming comedian. It seems like when they type that stuff. But yeah, I think my most tilting thing for me is, and I know it is because I have the first time it happened to me. I still remember is when I was playing a ranked game and it was for my promos to get the gold, and I've been trying all season to do it. And I'm playing jungle, and I called for Baron, and we had a Jinx, and she's like, "No, we can't do it in time." And she's like shoving, and she runs to mid lane, and there's only 11 minions there, and she's like 2 and 9, so she's not really doing anything. And I'm like, "But if you come to Baron, we can burn it in time." And their death timers are ticking down, and it's one of those moments like, "Oh my god, are we going to get before we get there?" And then she doesn't end up coming, and then they ended up just murdering all of us because it took too long. And it's just one of those things where like everybody on the team but one player commits to this idea that could have won, and then you lose the game because of them, and it's entirely out of your hands. Which logically you should be like, well, it's not my fault. But for me, I'm like, you're an idiot. Why did you do that? Come on. But that's me.
I agree. Such a tilting moment when that happened. But we're gonna finish out the last few minutes of the podcast. Let you folks, as I mentioned earlier, did a great service to us and told us your stories of tilt loss and toxicity. And I want us to take turns. Let's each pick one or two of these, and if we're not going to share these with y'all folks, like send you the text, but if either of my compatriots can, if you see a player's name, please don't say it out loud. Don't say their summoner's name, anything. Keep it out. Let's try and keep this as anonymous as possible. But the one that I really want to talk about is it's the second story that for us, but for you guys, the user rights. I started this ranked season off terribly with a 36% win rate and an MMR far below what I actually was. At the worst, I was gaining 14 LP per win and 20 per loss. Oh, losing 20 per loss. Many players would have given up at this point. I've seen professional players go on and sever a severe loss streak and basically give up the account. To prevent tilting off the face of the planet, I minimalized risk. I spammed 2 to 3 champions only and one role only. I muted anyone who displayed even remote amounts of salt in chat, and I only played when I was a good spot mentally. I was able to stabilize and get back to 50% plus. It is possible to do, but you have to be willing to go through hell to do it. I am so proud of you, listener friend, for doing that. I don't know if I have the emotional or mental chops to do that.
I mean,
I struggle with that heavily. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I mean, when I first read that, I was like, this is something everybody in League should read. Honestly, like,
Yeah.
I mean, one thing you don't realize is you're in a lobby with 4 other people, and just because you're having a bad day, sometimes your emotions get the best of you. Like reading this, I was like, yeah, yeah, you're right. I should do that. Like, you know, kind of like if League had 10 commandments, there should be like one or the number one or two.
Yeah, yeah, wholeheartedly. And we're not going to call anybody out, but if you're listening to this, here's your coming to Jesus moment. If you're one of those people that have been in this position, got out, and then the next time that you get in a game and one of your teammates start doing terrible, are you the one typing KYS? Please never do that. Why? Why? Stop. The toxicity, the tilt isn't going to help you win. What are you thinking? What story do y'all like? Evil, you go ahead. Which one did you like?
I like the second story. Um, I don't mind losing games. It doesn't bother me as much as it might other players. What really gets under my skin is when a loss is directly caused by my poor play. Nothing tilts me more than that myself. And um, that's kind of how I feel when I lose a game. Like I always call out when I make a bad play, or because when we play, like Alonzi might say, how's it going top lane, where I'm farming top lane, or people ask me how's bot lane going, and just like, well, I'm 0-8, but I'm just farming. And usually if we lose a game because the opposite ADC is fed, it just knowing that the other team won because my lane got ahead just sucks.
That is rough.
Yeah,
I mean, you carry a lot of weight with that. It's a team game, but I mean, a team is made up of players.
yeah, I'd agree with that. Um, yeah, it's not fair when someone just, it's your own issue. So I can understand that. I think mine from what we had from anonymous. I mean, it's slightly anonymous, but so it says split three semifinals versus Phoenix. Nebulon who played jungler for 9 lives this past split. No, yeah, 9 lives. Uh, had an incredible lead as full AP Nunu. This is before the rework. Our support Ashway was playing as Morgana, put a black shield on herself, and a single snowball from Nunu's. This is old Nunu's Q, where it was point click. 100 to 0'd her. And it says, as a team, we immediately began saying goodbye, thanking each other for the time and effort into the split. It was the single most demoralizing, I can't use English,
Yeah,
moments in my LCUS career, and I wish I would have had the fortitude to stand up and try to lead my team back instead of accepting defeat. Um, and that one's my favorite because that's how I felt this past finals playing, option 12 was just, you know, I thought that in bot lane we did really, really well, but then seeing Ace blow up as Lucian game one, and you're just like, oh man, Like, what are we gonna do? Like, it's just it's like a virus that sinks into your head. You know that you're like, oh man, like you just see something like that, and you're like, there's nothing you can do to stop that, and that's tilting.
And I would say it's even more tilting because I want to meet the person on your team that might have had the testicular fortitude to surrender. I mean, how you can't even get out of the situation. You could surrender. I mean, there is a mechanic in the software that would allow you to do it. Uh, but man, that was very difficult. Like for me, this split because I played Northern. I was on Northern Storm, and I was the weakest player on the team. So whenever I got caught out, I had the whip just flailing my back right off the bat. Uh, and with regards to our listener friend here that shared this story about the Morgana Black Shield event, um, or the snowballing, as I hope we will refer to it in the future. Uh, I remember the podcast the following week on that. And that was just each and every Ace and I both just hammered that in because Ace would have been on that team. That was a ridiculous amount of AP. That was how could you emotionally prepare for that? So I would have been tilted. I still probably would have. I wouldn't have reinstalled yet. So you did have some fortitude there. So don't beat yourself up too much. It's not everyone's job to lead all the time. Sometimes you got to follow. Sometimes you got to accept the loss and move on. Gentlemen, do you have any other last words? Take you a minute. Let it all out. Vent. Put the split behind you. Anything at all you want to say about lost tilt toxicity or anything at all, in fact.
Um, I would say this because I every time I've brought it up to anybody who's played in the LCUS, and it's that as when we all agreed to play in the LCUS, we agreed to play because it's for fun, and then you lose a game and then you get messages from friends who either aren't on your team or are on your team, and and you're just you have this mountain of salt, but like at least for me, it's important to remember at the end of the day that like we're doing this because it's fun. I mean, not to say winning isn't fun or that being competitive isn't is bad. But like at the end of the day, like you know, we're doing this for fun. So it's important to hold on to that, and that's something for me that I had to do right after the finals because we lost finals, and for like 2 days I was like, "Roar." But um, afterwards, and I had a lot of. It's also nice to hear from friends who like. Ace told me he was like, "You actually did really good in bot lane. Like, you're not the reason I got big game one," which is nice to hear. So if you're in the LCUS and you have something nice to say to someone that you've either played against or watched someone play, like don't hold back. Tell them. It can make someone's day, and can might end up ending their tiltedness. So.
Uh, so well put. Near tears. Please, folks, if you see something fun, if you see something nice, or if you see something needs said, say it. I could not have said that better. Uh, Evil, your thoughts. Any last closing word?
Mine would be I know everyone doesn't only play League, but definitely pick up a second game, preferably non-multiplayer. That after you go on a lost streak in League, you can turn League off. Probably a console game. Pick it up, play it. Just forget about League for a while. Maybe come back tomorrow, or even just sit out a queue for an hour or two, just to just to refresh, just clean the palate.
And that's smart. That's smart. That's really good advice. Uh, I know that a lot of sports psychologists, back when they were sharing this information for free, before the LCS started paying sports psychologists, my annual salary over a decade, in a year to tell these teams this stuff. They were saying things like that. So very good, very good. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. Before we sign off, folks, I promised some fun tidbits about the upcoming SIGs Fall Twisted Tree Line Invitational. I'm hype. Let's go. This is going to be single-handedly the greatest competition the LCS will ever have the benefit of showing. And if you're not participating, your loss. You will die. Go to your grave knowing that you didn't participate in the greatest set of amateur competition that ever existed. Uh, Signups will be going live on the 19th, so please keep an eye on our Facebook, our Reddit. Make sure that you're subscribed on YouTube. Make sure you're following us on Twitch. We're going to have lots of great content coming out about this event, and we want you to participate. A few things with teams. Please make sure you follow the guidelines posted in the rules so far about no one from the same rank. Uh, no two people of the same rank per team. So, for example, Team A could have a bronze, a silver, and a gold, but they could not have two silvers and a gold, two bronze and a gold. Has to be stratified. All right. So make sure you're building your teams accordingly. If it's a known Smurf account, we will stop the competition for you. Your team will be out of it. Please don't do that. Don't abuse the system. This is for fun. Don't make us come down on you. Uh, Also, please, when you're putting your team together, pick a charity. We're going to be selling a wonderful T-shirt, and I'm hoping you guys will sell it. Will buy it. It's going to be fun to wear. The part of the proceeds from those shirts are going to go to the charity of choice from the winning team. All right. So if your team wins, you get to decide what your portion of the charity money is going to go to. So we're going to have fun. We're going to raise money. This is going to be the best event that the LCUS has ever heard. Come at me, Ace. Come at me. So please, if you have questions, we're going to be rolling out more answers as the week comes on. So please be patient. We're very excited for this event. As always, you are the real sponsors of this podcast. Let's Talk About the League is possible because of your Twitch Prime subscriptions. So please renew those every month. Make sure that they're set. We really appreciate it. I was this week, of course, joined by Evil Envy and Alon Z Tardis, and I hope that you will join all of us in the future while we talk about the league. Have a great day.